This is a lateral lunge with a cross body reach. You're going to set up in this double stance wide position. Now, I would find your spacing before you grab your weight. We want to make sure that when we hinge back into the hips, it's a 45 angle back. Notice how I have a straight leg here and I'm shifted into this other hip. So it's foot, knee, hip, everything in line. Notice though that ever so slightly, we want to try and get to this position where the hip's just outside the knee. So this here is a good distance for me to set up. If you're too wide, you have no hope of getting that hip outside. If you're too narrow, there's no space to work with, okay? So it's about a double wide stance. Get that footing. Now I know that that's the right position. Now from here, we're going to hold on to a weight. It could be a dumbbell or a kettlebell. I'm a huge fan of a kettlebell if you have them. I'm going to show with the dumbbell today though. So like I said to begin with, hips shift back at 45 degrees. This is more of a hinge like a deadlift than a lunge. So we're going to sit back into the hips as I reach this arm across for kind of the big toe and just over the midline of the inner part of my foot. From here, staying over that leg as long as possible, I'm going to push through the ground to come up. So in order to get into this position, I want you to think about pushing through the inner arch of this foot. So the base of the big toe, the inner heel, I'm pushing the floor away as I shift into that hip. Pause here, stay heavy over that foot and midfoot, push through the ground to come back up. Now, the number one most common mistake here that I see is people don't push through the ground. So if I show from the side what it looks like, first of all, a good rep, we want to make sure hips are coming back, nice neutral spine. There's no rounding through my back here. But a lot of times when people come out of this position, they simply just extend from their low back. So we don't want to do that. We want to think as we shift back, see how I stay heavy over this leg and push through the ground to come back up, as opposed to just extending through the spine. So I would suggest to be really patient with it as you shift into the hip, pause, own that position, feel that tension build up through the foot, through the quad, into that lateral hip and the inner thigh as you push through the ground to come back up. We also want to make sure that this other leg stays straight. Another common mistake that I see is this leg's bent. That tells me that you're not pushing away to shift into this other hip. So this drill is all about teaching us to shift out of one hip into the other, and then again to come back out of it. So position here is key. Be patient with it.